this is Group 7, and I am presenting with Tiffany, Connor, LB, and Lindsay. And for our final group project for Management 300, we decided to do Bass Pro Shops. A little background about Bass Pro Shops. It dates back to 1971 when John Morris created it. He began his career selling sports goods in the back of his father's liquor store. The store has now become a leading company in providing outdoor sports equipment for outdoorsmen. For our abstract, we identified two main issues. The first issue is store size and location, and the second is research, developing a research and design team. For addressing these issues, we will first create an increase in reaching a broader customer base. We will try and sell more produced products, and last is save millions in buying other products.
My name's Connor, and I was in charge of the first diagnosis that our group did, and that was being location. Currently, Bass Pro Shops has 94 stores across the United States and Canada, and many of the locations are in metropolitan cities such as Chicago, Jacksonville, Florida, Dallas, Texas. This is great for Bass Pro Shops because they can cater to millions of potential customers, but it also makes it difficult for them to maybe cater to the true outdoorsmen, the ones that live in the more rural locations. Because their stores range from anywhere from 100,000 square feet to maybe 500,000 square feet, it really limits them on where they can set up shop. They need to be in high metropolitan areas. And the large stores, if they were to locate them, in less dense population areas, then they wouldn't be able to stay in business because they simply wouldn't have enough customers to feed the need. And this causes another problem because Bass Pro Shops cannot really cater to destinations where it's good for hunting, camping, and fishing. So customers who go to Bass Pro Shops, a lot of the times they have to stock up for maybe a weekend trip, and if they need emergency supplies, it makes it difficult for Bass Pro Shops to cater to that exact need. And pretty much having these larger stores allows smaller stores to stay in business because, like I stated earlier, if a customer needs emergency supplies or something like that, then they can go to these small convenience stores where they will have the supplies that they need. So if these stores went out of business, it would make it more difficult for the customers to get what they need without traveling. So some solutions that we came up for with the store size and location is to set up partnerships with either grocery stores, general stores, or hardware stores in rural locations such as like a Rural King or a Farm and Fleet. They can have a section in the store where they sell probably the essentials of what the customer might need. So if it's a hunting location, you could have ammo, you could have some hunting gear, stuff like that, fishing. They can have all assortments of bait, minnows, live bait, fishing lines, stuff like that. And this will be mutually beneficial for both companies because Bass Pro Shops will be able to cater to the customers that they cannot originally reach, and it could create more foot traffic and sales to selected stores that they have partnered with.
Our second diagnosis for Bass Pro Shop is their lack of research and development. Currently what they do, they have their vendors submit any ideals or suggestions that they have to the company. The company takes time to review them, test the products. They need additional information, they'll contact the vendor. But they don't actually have their own internal research and development department within the company. Now, they actually bought Cabela's Outfitters. Cabela's actually has their own research and development, and at this point is actually unsure whether they're actually going to use Cabela's or whether they're going to continue to do what they've done in the past, which was mentioned in the first diagnosis of just buying out other people and not really establishing their own brand or using someone else's brand. The solution that we came up with for Bass Pro Shop is that for them to become an industry leader, they need to focus on some type of manufacturing or selling something that belongs to them. They usually, they do have consistent vendors, but the vendors basically make develop and do everything, and again, they decide if they want it or not. They're not really setting up their own brand. They have the financial ability to acquire competitors, which is normally what they've done for about the last 20 years. They just buy people out when they see something they want instead of creating their own. It is assumed that the reason why they bought Cabela's is to use their research and development, use their branding to try to make that company-wide and to merge with Cabela for innovation and specialization.
Hi, I'm Lindsay, and I'm going to be focusing on our 2 action plans. And first, we're going to focus on expanding rurally. We're going to do that by opening store locations in local areas, by opening store businesses, and then also renting out or leasing spaces in local stores. Currently, Bass Pro Shops is neglecting their rural customers and not tapping into that rural market. Their name holds a really hefty weight, and if they were to access that market, then they could potentially do very well. But the store size currently is around 100,000 square footage, so they're really limiting themselves as far as expanding rurally. They started to better themselves by acquiring Cabela's, so they catered to the Midwest and Northwest markets that they weren't catering to beforehand. But by acquiring Cabela's, they really put themselves at a better competitive advantage. So we focused on a 10-year plan for expanding rurally. Within the first 6 months, we're going to do location market research and focus on which areas around the U.S. that are going to be most beneficial to us. We're going to determine at least one location in every state that we have a good market already established, and then we're going to partner. Talk to those businesses that we want to partner with and kind of start working on a contract with them about leasing out spaces in there. And usually those spaces are around 1,500 feet, and we're really going to focus on the live bait and those basic necessities of those locations, determining where they're at and what those products are going to entail. Year 1, we're going to meet with contractors and accountants as far as our budget and being able to determine how many people we can hire, what our budget is as far as opening new store buildings. As far as acquiring those buildings, we're going to try and find empty buildings that match our square footage in our prime locations. And if we can't find those, then we're going to work with contractors to make the buildings the most efficient way possible. In year 2, we're going to determine the necessities for these partnerships and determine the products that are going to go specifically in those stores. So we're going to really focus on finding our target markets and looking at the location and what kind of outdoor activities are specific to that market, and really focus on, for example, if it is fishing is popular in that area, then that department of the store is going to be the largest area. Because unlike the big square footage stores that are around 100,000 square feet, that we don't have the space to hold everything for every department. So we're really going to focus on that area. Years 3 to 5, we're going to implement 25% of the stores and partnerships that we had researched. Those are going to be our highest opportunity areas, and we're going to continue to evaluate how those KPIs and the return on investment plays out, and then see if it's beneficial to us. Okay, so years 6 through 7, we're going to modify this business plan and look at our ROIs and how we performed in the previous years, and we will determine whether or not this expansion is benefiting our company. Most likely it will, but if not, then we need to decide if we want to eliminate the program or continue to expand. If we decide to do that, then we're going to open up the remaining 75% of the stores in years 6 through 7. And then in years 8 through 9, we're going to continue to modify those plans as far as opening up and continue to look at the ROIs, and then we will continue to open up the remaining 25%. And then in year 10, we're going to examine the overall progress over the past 10 years, put up a summary of how we performed, determine the effectiveness, look at what we did well and what we didn't do so well, and focus on those main strategies that really helped us as a company. And then we're going to modify those and continue to expand rurally. Okay, so our next action plan is research and development. The current system right now, as Reese talked about, we basically just gain insights from outside sources and use their ideas if we like them. And then we also acquire ideas from Cabela's efforts since we have acquired them. But we really are trying to focus on creating that competitive advantage. If we're not controlling that ourselves, it's really hard for us to set ourselves apart and really differentiate ourselves from competitors. So creating a research and development department, it allows us to fully understand our market. We are fully in control of our R&D, so we know what's going on, we know what we're producing, and then we also have more control over our product design and our idea investments. So in the first 6 months of this, we're going to establish a head of department that will work with top managers, and they will work together to develop the R&D strategies and goals. And then they're going to set up an R&D structure and the positions. So we're going to have the head of the department, and we're going to have 4 overall purpose areas. 1 in the track market, to track the market, 1 to service the market, 1 to shape the market, and 1 to maintain the market. And then within that, they're going to hire employees to help those 4 purpose leaders, and then you'll have your head above those. In year 1, we're going to focus on hiring. So first we're going to look internally at who we have at Bass Pro, who would fit good in the R&D department, and then we're going to look at Cabela's current R&D department and see who we think would fit well with our company and merge them. And then whatever sections we have left, we can look elsewhere for looking at outside sources for hiring. Okay, so we're going to create our metrics and KPIs. So we're going to focus on lagging indicators and leading indicators. Those lagging indicators are easy to measure but difficult to fix. So they include patents granted, expenses, revenue, R&D spend, and inventory turnover. And then we're going to look at the leading indicators, which are very essential as far as predicting our future, but they're difficult to measure. So those would include patents filed, ideas created, new technologies identified, and developments, our time spent on developing. And then we're also going to do performance appraisals and employee surveys throughout every single year, and to focus on how our R&D department is developing. So in year 2, we're going to focus mainly on the product development process. So really focus on that target market research, and then we're going to look at examine our current products to see if there's room for any improvement, if we can improve efficiency. As far as the target markets go, we're going to focus on specific ones, such as fishing, NASCAR, bow hunting, just specific ones that we can develop products for each of those departments. And we want to create at least 1 product plan for each of these and have a nice mix of from outside sources and internal sources. And then for year 3, we want to carry out these market plans and continue to evaluate the production process and examine these and test and modify the products. So we want to test and modify these products with both professionals who are in the field using these products, and then also our just normal everyday consumers. Year 4, we want to develop a specific timeline for these products to launch and continue testing and developing them and work on how we're going to do the mass production of these. In year 5, we're going to start the timeline and carry those out, continue the R&D, and then keep measuring the effectiveness with the KPIs and develop our R&D department.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I'm going to be doing the evaluation. First, I'm going to do it over the first diagnosis. Although Bass Pro Shops have expanded a lot, they still have the problem of being unable to cater to customers in rural areas. This can often mean that customers have to travel because of the fact that the stores aren't located near them. One way to make a solution in this is to create partnerships with other businesses so that we can either have our products in their store and also expanding into Midwest and Northwest states. Another part of the action plan, which is expanding rurally, which would be add project management team to the market research team. This can allow our research team to facilitate partnerships without having to stop or slow down while they're working with these partnerships. The project management team will also have skills in market research and help develop a growth plan. And then there will be meetings between the research team and future partners so that they can do any type of adjusting and changing depending on how we've done so far with those partnerships. We will also evaluate customer surveys to determine the level of satisfaction. In doing this, we can go from those surveys to figure out what needs to be changed or modified so that we can improve from then on from the customer's opinions. The next would be on action expanding rurally again. This would be to determine if preferred merchandise are meeting a partnership need. In that way, if they are not meeting the need that they feel that they have, we can recommend financial assistance or expansion of where they currently have it so that we can go in and help our partners reach their level of need that they need to meet. We also have to determine assessments of return on investments. This can mean that if there needs to be a modification on the rate and size of the expansion, we can kind of scale back or go forward depending on what it is at that time. We can also offer recommendations to all the teams, which this is again just going to our partnerships and figuring out what needs fixed, and we can offer assistance through that. On to the second diagnosis. There is no internal research and development team at Bass Pro Shops, which we would be creating that. Before they acquired Cabela's, they were limited to accepting submissions from vendors if they wanted to have their products in the stores. But as of December 2016, there's no longer the link on the website for those submissions because of us acquiring Cabela's. And then after the first phase, we will establish groups to monitor the progress within our company. That way we can figure out where we're at going into the second phase. And then after the second phase, we will again have surveys, interviews, and evaluation forms to determine where we're at and figure out where we need to modify and change what we're doing. And then we will have daily reports from our market and research team to determine where we are. And then we'll have internal observers, so we will hire people within the company to observe the daily activities to make sure we are staying on the right track. And then we will ensure all administrative records are up to date and doing what we need them to do.
My name is Amy, and I'm going to discuss the overall conclusion of our presentation. So for Bass Pro Shop to be successful, we really think that they should consider the implementations of the action plan. This action plan was created to benefit popular customers areas that they don't currently. We also suggested that they expanded rurally and did develop a research and development team. Is that good?
To go back and possibly, I messed up.
Stop.
we're gonna find, we're gonna find those buildings. So he, God, this is bad. Just stop it.
Just, can we take a break?